Shalom Israel. First, I want to start by giving all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the elders, apostles, and bishops of GMS Great Millstone who rule well, teach, and edify. Shalom unto you, hopefully like document, Aquath, and his household of faith. My name is Yeshaya. I don't want to make an edifying video, going into you on end time headlines. I don't actually have the article pulled up right now, but I saw something earlier there today. Here it is. It says experts reveal Iranian sleeper agents are going to strike next. Right. So with that being said, understanding that Iran goes into the Arabians or the Karamanians. Those are those individuals, right? Like the Arab type of people. And these people are very vengeful, right? United States struck Iran, didn't even run it past Russia, didn't run it past nobody really, and went in and bombed Iran. Right, so this started the official feud between the two now. It's no longer going to be a between just Israel and Iran. Like the scriptures say, the least of them shall draw them out. All right, so now this is going to progress into a bigger. It's like a push comes to shove type of thing. But reading the verses, 2 Esdras 15-29, when the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried away as the wind upon the earth, that all they that which hear them shall fear and tremble. So all they that hear them shall that them may fear and tremble. So the United States has many bureaus of investigation, CIA, FBI, there's probably even more that bros don't even really know about, that are looking into these sleeper cells that are many of them actually being confirmed in across many of the states of United states and cities of the U.S., particularly those states that have important military landmarkers or significant patriotic landmarkers like Washington D.C. That's a place that they're indefinitely sleeper cells. Places where you get like San Diego with very big naval presence, or New Mexico with the very large Air Force bases that they have. Going into all the different forts in cities that have, values that they would wish to, strike. Looking back into the instance of 9/11, they hit America at the Twin Towers, the two tallest buildings of America, and that's real symbolic. The fall. You're brought high and then now you're brought low. Now those fucking buildings are just nothing. Right? Sometimes they like to do those patriotic type of things. They hit you where it hurts. The Washington Monument, things like that. I wouldn't be surprised to see something catastrophic happening in Washington D.C. And so does America. America sees the fact that, what they did is going to draw them out. Salakia. What America did by bombing Iran is going to piss Iran off, and then they're going to come back with heat, man. And Iran has done their, strikes back at America at their military bases out in the Middle Eastern, but none of the bombs hit. They didn't really do shit. They all got intercepted. So Iran, being the nature that they have. Actually, let me read this next verse. Also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and they shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. And verse 31, and then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature. These people are fucking crazy, man. That they have that very vengeful spirit, man. And the spirits of vengeance are going to come out even more and more as we draw nigh into the coming of the Lord, right? And these men are plagued with demons that have them plotting and thinking of different type of ways to go out, strap of bombs and shit like that. There's so many different type of instances, where they might have gotten intercepted, but when Iran starts activating them, there's nothing that the United States can do besides, just wait and see what happens. Because you got to think, some of these sleeper cells have been here since probably 2000, the year 2000, fucking 1980, 1990, having regular ass lives, bro. These people probably have families, houses, cars. They probably go to the gym, do Pilates, regular, a regular at Starbucks and shit like that. But then boom, all out of nowhere, this motherfucker just, levels a whole entire school or some shit like that, a church, or even something on a higher level, major buildings in the United States, man. So we draw an eye into the Lord's coming. We're going to see certain things like that happening. The scriptures say the love of many shall wax cold, man. These people are ruthless. They're ruthless, and they don't care about taking a life. It's nothing to them. And the nations, they see that because they see those Iranians turning back to their first nature. These are motherfuckers that be giving the United States trouble on the ground over there in the Middle East. They don't even like deploying fucking troops out there, man, because of how they move. Them motherfuckers are sneaky and they're murderous. Got anything, bro?
No.
Con. So, let me get that vengeful spirits, because that's really what's going to happen. And it'd be very wise for Akim to prepare for these type of things, and also be circumspect about where you're putting yourself at. If you're in one of those places, to where everywhere got sleeper cells. They just haven't confirmed everywhere. But if you're especially in one of those places like Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, New York, Florida, Miami, those type of places, it would behoove bros to walk more circumspect about the situations and the places that you're putting yourself into, especially around big crowds. The apostles have been pushing that for a minute, to stay away from big crowds. You go around the big crowds and you never know when one of these motherfuckers is gonna, just explode. I'm like literally explode. You don't even know, bro. Sleeper cells might be working at security at major events. Say Coachella. You got a sleeper cell that's been a security guard since 2005, been working security gigs for his whole fucking, last 15 years, all just for the sake of being a security guard at an event so he could let another sleeper cell come in and blow the whole shit down. These motherfuckers are complex like that. Satan on the left-hand side, giving them that intelligence, those fucking demons, to be able to do those type of things, man. Just as complex and proud as the United States may like to portray themselves in the movies and media about how they, carry out certain operations. These other nations, man, they do the same shit. They just might not have the $1 billion look to it. They do the same fucking shit. They shoot the same fucking guns. They think the same fucking way. This is ultimately all under the agenda of the elites. But vengeful spirits in that Sirach 39 and 28, it says, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. All right, so laying on those sore strokes, man. If we understand, the scriptures talk about, there should be bodies laying in the streets as dung for none to take care of them, man. We're going to head into our times like where you just see bird shit on the car. Imagine a body there, man. You're going to see times where just like how you see dog shit at the park. Imagine a motherfucker laying there lifeless. No one's going to care for these bodies. We're going to move into times where famine, you got motherfuckers over there trying to eat themselves, man. Eat each other, right? Household pets is going to turn into a fucking buffet. What I'm saying? Those are the times that we're looking towards. The times of Jacob's trouble. And we're right around the corner from all those things. It says fire, hail, famine, and death. All these were created for vengeance. All right, so, with that being said, these sleeper cells have that spirit of vengeance upon them. They have that spirit of that vengeful spirit, especially being the fact that America's the type of place that likes to bomb someplace, kill 10,000 people, but then one soldier of theirs gets killed in the Middle East, and all of a sudden they try to wipe them off the map. Look at Pearl Harbor with the fucking Ammonites. What I'm saying? They struck Pearl Harbor, and the United States literally came back and leveled the whole fucking shit. I mean, they done killed so many Ammonites over there, bro. Like, fucking, people still joke about it today, man. Be on the Xbox, man. The motherfuckers be like, kamikaze and shit. What I'm saying? That's how fucking catastrophic that situation was. So with that being said, even looking in the history of the things that's happened in this country, you see that vengeful spirits are all around. So how much more in the time of Jacob's trouble when all of them are going to be turned up to a level, 1,000? You know what I'm saying? You got anything, bro?
Yeah. Ezekiel 38 and 11. I'm going to read the 10th verse, though. It says, thus saith the Lord, power shall also come to pass that at the same time, at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. And you know that the land of unwalled villages, that's talking about Babylon. You know, Babylon has no, you know, you could just walk in this motherfucker. You know, look at the whole influx of quote unquote immigrants that came in, or migrants that came in. And you know, during that time, you know, when they were recording the news and whatnot, it was just a bunch of military age men, you know, from all different nations, you know. And I believe most of them were like UN troops, because you can't forget about them. So it's really just a matter of, you know, like, they're already in here, so it's just a matter of, okay, you know, that go ahead, like, okay, let's do it. But you know, it's all about war, you know, or it's all war at the end of the day. So you got to be tactical, you know, and strategic with your plans. That's it.
God, that's all you got. That's all I got. You know, y'all right, this was an edifying video. Lastly, I want to give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem HaKakwadash, Shalom.